The air was thick with an unnatural menace as Julia Bennett stepped out of her hatchback in the parking lot of Maple Grove Estates. A primal instinct gripped her, a shiver racing down her spine like a warning carved in the humid summer dusk. It was late Saturday, the sun a molten orb sinking low, casting long shadows across the asphalt. The community pool, usually alive with the chatter of neighbors and the splash of kids, lay under Ingly still behind its low iron fence. From where Julia stood, the water looked wrong pale, almost opaque, like a chalky veil had settled over it. A sharp, chemical stench hit her, burning her nostrils and making her eyes sting. She froze, one hand still on the car door. As a former lifeguard, she knew the bite of chlorine, but this was different. Sighs, invasive, like it was clawing into her lungs. Her gaze swept the scene. A knot of neighbors lingered near the clubhouse, their voices hushed, their postures tense, as if afraid to approach the pool. The monthly sunset social, meant to be a carefree gathering, felt like a funeral. Julia's eyes darted to the pool, where two teenage boys newcomers, likely from a family that moved in last week, were horsing around in the shallow end, oblivious to the faint haze curling above the water. Their laughter grated against the eerie quiet, like a spark in a powder keg. Julia's pulse quickened as she neared the group by the clubhouse. She spotted Evelyn, a retired chemist with a sharp tongue and sharper mind, gripping a cup of lemonade, her knuckles white. "Where's Martin?" Julia asked softly. Martin, the HOA president, was a constant at these events, always flaunting new amenities like a proud parent. Tonight, he was nowhere. Evelyn's eyes flicked to the pool, then back. He was messing with the pool chemicals this morning. Now he's holed up in his office. Something's off, Julia. My throat's burning just standing here. Dread coiled in Julia's gut. She noticed the older boy in the pool rubbing his eyes, the whites inflamed. High chlorine could do that, but this felt worse. "Has anyone tested the water?" she asked, turning to Nora, the volunteer pool coordinator, whose face was taut with worry. Nora shook her head. "The test kits are locked in the shed, and Martin's got the key. He said he adjusted the levels for the party, but..." Her voice faltered, her gaze fixed on the pool. "It's not right." The chemical smell intensified, a predator closing in. Julia started toward the gate, but a cheer from the deep end stopped her. A group of young adults floated on rafts, clinking plastic cups, seemingly unbothered by the stench. Maybe the fumes were weaker in the water, maybe they were too tipsy to care. Either way, Julia's instinct screamed danger. Clouds drifted across the sun, plunging the courtyard into a fleeting, ominous gray. The cicadas' hum faded, and the air grew heavy with unspoken fear. Julia pushed through the gate, the odor hitting her like a slap. Up close, she saw Ida, ghostly mist hovering over the water, as if the chlorine were evaporating into a toxic shroud. Her throat burned as she waved frantically. "Everyone out. Get out now." The older teen smirked, thinking her a paranoid adult. "Relax, it's just a pool." His younger brother laughed, splashing him. But Evelyn stepped forward, her voice a whip. "Move it, boys. Now." Her chemist's authority cut through their bravado. The boys' grins faded, and they waded to the ladder. Others noticed. A man on a raft called, "What's going on?" Before Julia could answer, the older teen hit the deck and doubled over, coughing violently. His brother stumbled out, tears streaming, eyes swollen red. Then the younger boy collapsed, gasping, his body trembling against the concrete. Panic erupted. Shouts filled the air, phones lit up with 911 calls, and neighbors surged forward or backed away in fear. The chemical stench grew suffocating, a levying thing. Nora sprinted to the shed, desperate to find Martin or break in. Evelyn knelt beside the younger boy, checking his pulse with steady hands, though her voice shook. "He's breathing, but it's shallow." Julia's fingers trembled as she dialed emergency services, her pulse roaring. The boy's father, in a loud tropical shirt, knelt beside them, his face crumpling. "We just moved here," he sobbed. "What's happening?" The clubhouse gate slammed open. Martin stumbled out, sweat-soaked, his collared shirt stained. His eyes darted from the coughing teens to the haze over the pool, wild with panic. Julia locked eyes with him, fury rising. "What did you do, Martin?" He opened his mouth, but no words came. The stench surged, burning Julia's throat. The older teen let out a ragged cough and went limp. Evelyn's scream tore through the humid air, a sound of raw horror. In that moment, Maple Grove Estates fell into a nightmare. Julia's voice was sharp as she demanded, "Martin, why is the chlorine so high?" Her words sliced through the chaos. Martin shifted, shoulders slumping. "I was prepping for the social," he mumbled, avoiding her gaze. "Last year, algae turned the pool green. People threatened to sue. I added extra chlorine to be safe. The new dispenser was supposed to handle it, but I topped it off." Evelyn's glare was lethal. "Topped it off? You don't just dump chemicals in. There's a formula. You've poisoned the air." Martin swiped his sweaty brow. "I thought it'd dilute." "I didn't mean." "You locked the shed." Julia snapped. "You didn't test the water, didn't let anyone else test it, and now kids are collapsing." Before Martin could respond, sirens wailed. Paramedics burst through the gate, masked and hauling oxygen tanks. They knelt beside the younger boy, Liam. Julia learned and began treatment. His brother, Caleb, was conscious but coughing, eyes wide with fear. A woman from the deep end staggered out and collapsed, gasping. A paramedic eyed the haze. "Everyone back 50 feet. Chlorine gas is pooling over the water. You're all at risk." Neighbors fled to the grassy area by the clubhouse. Julia guided Evelyn, who kept glancing at Liam. More sirens brought a hazmat team, their suits bulky as they set up fans to disperse the fumes. A police officer approached Martin, demanding a statement. Martin's hand shook as he spoke, his voice breaking. Julia watched the paramedics work on Liam, whose breaths were shallow. One shook his head grimly, sending a chill through her. Evelyn whispered, "Liam Carter. Just moved here. He's 13. The words hit hard. 13. A kid excited for a new home, now fighting for his life. Nora, near the fence, shouted at a hazmat worker. "The dispenser's still running. Martin's cheap contractor botched the install. It's pumping more chlorine." The worker nodded and entered the shed. Nora sank down, tears falling. One screw up after another. Julia's heart ached. The scene felt surreal. Ambulances, hazmat suits, a news van filming the chaos. The haze was thinning, but the tragedy's weight lingered. Morning brought a throbbing headache, the chemical sting still in Julia's throat. She checked her phone, finding a group chat update from Evelyn. "Liam's in a coma. The woman, a mess. Pierce is stable. Pray for them." Julia's coffee grew cold as she thought of Liam's mother, Sarah, her face bright with hope at a recent potluck. The news was merciless. Pool chemical disaster hospitalizes two. Maple Grove, once a postcard of suburban bliss, was now infamous. The HOA website offered a bland statement. "We are cooperating with authorities." Pool closed. No apology. Julia's anger flared. Her phone buzzed Evelyn, urgent. "Emergency HOA meeting in an hour. It's going to be ugly." The clubhouse was packed, neighbors spilling outside. Martin sat with board members Karen, treasurer, and Tom, secretary, looking haggard. He stood, voice trembling. "We're here about the incident. We're praying for Liam and MS. Pierce, you caused this," someone shouted. Murmurs grew to a roar. Evelyn cut in. "Your website's a dodge, Martin. You're avoiding blame." Karen spoke calmly. "We're decontaminating the pool and investigating to ensure this never happens again." "An elderly man, Mr. Hayes raised a hand. "If Liam dies, a lawsuit could bankrupt us. Dues will soar." "What then?" Julia stood. "Money can't overshadow this. A child's in a coma. This was preventable." A health department inspector introduced herself. Chlorine levels were triple safe limits, likely with other chemicals. "Mr. Lowe, you added extra. We need logs and times. Why were test kits locked?" Martin flushed. "The shed auto-locks. I didn't know the kits were inside. I was avoiding algae." You didn't think, someone muttered. The inspector's gaze was cold. Negligence like this has consequences. The meeting dissolved into tears and accusations. Martin sobbed, Karen promised cleanup and medical support, and a parent demanded therapy for traumatized kids. Nothing was resolved, but the community's wounds were raw. Days blurred. MS. Pierce woke, her lungs damaged. Liam stayed in a coma. Julia helped deliver meals to Sarah, who accepted them with haunted eyes. "I wish we'd never come," she whispered. Julia drove home, passing the pool's hazard-taped gate. A letter from the HOA's lawyer awaited, alongside one from Sarah's law firm. Guilt gnawed at her, though she wasn't at fault. Nora arrived, clutching maintenance logs. "Martin's been reckless forever," she said, showing emails from a pool tech warning against overchlorination. He ignored them, said he was SAVYing money. Julia's jaw clenched. Why didn't the board act? He was in charge, Nora said. We trusted him. They turned the EVY Denke over to the health department. Social media raged, some defending Martin, others demanding justice. Then, a rumor. Liam's heart had failed. By dusk, Sarah posted, "Liam passed at 6:47 p.m. Thank you for your prayers. He was our light." Julia's VY shone blurred. The neighborhood mourned, porch lights dimming, signs reading justice for Liam sprouting on lawns. A VY guild formed, candles flickering as a pastor prayed. Evelyn spoke, voice breaking. "We owe Liam better." A month later, autumn cooled Maple Grove. A park corner became Liam's corner, marked by a plaque and saplings. The pool stayed drained, a scarred shell. Martin resigned amid lawsuits and a manslaughter indictment. The HOA hired professionals to enforce safety. Julia led a safety committee, checking everything from lights to alarms. At Liam's corner, she read the plaque, "For Liam, may we protect every child." Sarah had moved away, her home empty. Evelyn shared news of Martin's charges. "It won't bring Liam back," Julia said, "but it might save others." A town hall rallied for trust and healing. Mr. Hayes, now on oxygen, thanked the community and urged VY vigilance. Plans formed for a memorial, safety courses, and support groups. Families stayed, forging bonds through shared meals and care. One evening, Julia stood at Liam's corner, the saplings whispering in the breeze. The pain lingered, but Maple Grove was changing into a community defined by its response to loss, united in a vow to never fail again. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.